This is Samantha Butler. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. This quote really stands out to me because it reflects something that I personally struggle with. I have a tendency to overthink situations and create stress for myself that doesn't always need to exist. So today, I'm going to share a little bit about myself by talking about one of my negatives, which is my tendency to overthink. And then I'll talk about one of my positives, which I'm very proud of, which is being an empathetic person. One negative trait I have is I tend to overthink things. I don't just take information at face value. I analyze it, replay it in my head, and sometimes even twist it into something worse than it actually is. What happens is I start questioning things that don't need to be questioned. I think about what someone has said, how they said it, what they might have meant, and then I take it even further and assume the worst possible meaning behind it. This holds me back. Instead of reacting to what has actually happened, I end up reacting to what I think is happening, and it creates stress, anxiety, and sometimes unnecessary conflict in my relationships. For example, there was a time with me and my boyfriend Mike, and he sent a very short message. And instead of taking it at face value, I started to overthink it. I reread the message multiple times, and I tried to figure out if he was upset with me or if I had done something wrong. The more I thought about it, the more I convinced myself that something was wrong, even though there was no real evidence of that. So when I responded, I was not calm at all. I was already in my feelings about it. This turned into a bigger conversation than it needed to be. Later, I realized that I had completely created that situation in my own head. On the positive side, one trait I'm really proud of is that I'm an empathetic person. I genuinely try to understand people beyond just what I see on the surface. Over time, I have learned people are not always their situations. They're not always defined by the choices that others judge them for. A lot of the times, people are shaped by things they didn't choose, like their environment, their experiences, or what they've been through. Because of that, I try to approach people with understanding instead of judgment. There was a time I was working with a girl struggling with drug addiction. From the outside, it would have been really easy to label her based on that and make assumptions about her. But instead of doing that, I took time to listen to her story. I learned about what she's been through and the things that led her to where she was. The more I listened, the more I realized that she wasn't just her addiction. She is someone who has gone through a lot and was trying to cope the best way she knew how. Because I approached her with understanding instead of judgment, she tried to open up more. She became more willing to talk and considered even making changes. The moment really showed me that empathy isn't just about being nice. It's about recognizing people are more than their circumstances, and not everyone starts out from the same place in life. As I wrap up today, I shared how my tendency to overthink can sometimes create unnecessary problems in my life. But I've also shared how being an empathetic person allows me to understand others and see beyond their situations. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the same advantages that you have had. Scott Fitzgerald.